Hello folks, in this video I want to give some tips on what I feel helps me to pursue amazing health. And it's not health advice, it's more just things that I think are on the journey in pursuit of good health I've found personally very helpful. Now, you can't be truly happy, can you, if you're not healthy? You could have all the fame and riches in the world, but if you're not physically, mentally, emotionally, and I might add to spiritually well, then you can't truly be happy, can you? There is no point being the richest person in the graveyard, striving after riches and fame um, at the expense of your health and then ending up dying young. Now, I would recommend Dr. Eric Berg's videos on YouTube because he covers such a wide array of topics. I've personally become quite addicted to his videos. I try and watch one every day and covers everything. Really good stuff on there, so take a look if you can. One thing recently I've been trying to be conscious of is hydrogenated vegetable oil. These oils have been linked to heart problems, and they're hidden away in so many things. The process that they go through to actually make these things is not a natural process. It's basically turning a liquid into a fat that wouldn't naturally be in that state. So that's one thing I've been trying to look out for in ingredients food lately. Constipation is quite a problem for a lot of people, and so it's important to keep things moving, to research things that can help you to keep things moving, whether that's more fiber, drinking prune juice, or increasing your intake of fruits and food that's high in water content. Intermittent fasting is also something that Dr. Berg recommends a lot. Lots of people recommend it, that you might try cutting out breakfast altogether and not eating after 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the evening, because that gives you a good couple of hours before you go to bed, and so stops there being like an insulin imbalance during the night, which can interrupt your sleep, cause you to get up in the night and things like that. The principle really is that there is a plant out there that cures every disease somewhere. As a general rule, that's a general principle that I live by: natural healing methods. And although the scripture in Revelation 22:2 is primarily symbolic, I like to think that you can also look at it literally, that there are herbs out there for absolutely everything. And I remember reading an article in the National Geographic many years ago about alternative health, about how in some cases it can be difficult to reproduce the exact conditions, because where these herbs grow, sometimes there's specific soil conditions and environment and climate and things like that. But I do remember this article discussing how they treated severe skin burns in one African village compared with conventional methods in the West. And what happened is that a mother was doing some cooking, and she threw some boiling water out of the window, and by mistake she accidentally threw the water on her little child, who then suffered severe burns. And then what happened is, immediately the local medicine man of the village ran into the jungle, chopped down this specific vine, ran back, and then blew on the end of the vine, and the sap dripped all over the small child's burns, and it showed a before and after picture, and you could barely tell that this child had suffered burns. It healed up in such a fantastic way. The article saying they wouldn't have been able to cure those burns in that way in a Western hospital with Western medical care. So it just shows that hidden wisdom that people have lost touch with now in our modern life. Is very important, I think. Avoiding things like deodorants that contain aluminium. Your armpits is where you actually want to expel rubbish out of your body, and the last thing you want to do is clog up your armpits when you're exercising, when all of those toxins and viruses and the stuff that makes you smell under your arms is trying to get out of your body, to be shunted out of your body, which is part of the reason why exercising is so important. And if you're clogging those up with aluminium sprays, it really defeats the object and stops your lymph nodes working properly, and all that stuff stays then stuck in your body. So it has been said that the bathroom can be the most dangerous room in the house. Well worth checking your cosmetics and understanding the ingredients and making sure that they're all natural and there are no harmful things in there. Things like artificial sweeteners and even too much sugar and refined sugar is linked to many problems. It's not fat that's the problem, it's sugar, isn't it? But also anything that's unnatural, that's hundreds or thousands of times sweeter than natural sugar, that ants and cockroaches actually avoid, is worth giving a miss as well. Going back to that thought about the leaves of the trees being for the healing of the nation, well, there's the medicinal mushrooms like reishi and many other herbs. It's really good to research these. There's people out there that have done all the research for you. It's just a case of discovering that and tuning into that information. Exercise, as I mentioned, is super important. It has been estimated that maybe as much as 50% of depression cases could be reduced through exercise alone. And things that complement that, like the cold plunges, the Wim Hof technique. I'm a big fan of his. Also, his breathing techniques are great as well. Cleaning up other areas of your life, like your finances. An excellent video by Jordan Peterson on Clean Your Room. Look it up in YouTube. So getting all areas of our lives, starting by our own bedroom and working out and gradually working on something each day so that we get everything in order. At the end of the day, if our finances are sound, then that will have a good impact on our emotional health. A friend once said to me, if you can't make it at home, don't eat it. That's a good guiding principle when it comes to avoiding processed food as well. And the nocebo effect. Avoid junk like porn and soap operas. The nocebo effect is really the opposite of the placebo effect. It's something that does you in mentally and affects your health. And they conducted an experiment, apparently, where they actually gave people saline solution, but they told them it was chemo. And through the power of the mind, they believed they had chemo. They'd had chemo, and the hair actually started falling out, even though they'd only had saline. So the nocebo effect, be aware of what you're taking into your mind and avoid anything that's woke, like the plague, a lot of the trash that's in the mainstream media. Look for the alternative truth-telling media and things that strive to build you up and empower you rather than enslave you, really, or imprison you. The placebo effect is the exact opposite. It's where the body starts to self-medicate. So you believe, again, they give somebody a saline solution or a sugar pill, and they tell them that this is a new experimental drug that's going to cure cancer or something like that. And through the power of the mind, that person is able to cure their disease. What's actually happening is your body is starting to self-medicate. It's producing chemicals based on the belief in your mind that you're going to heal. So it's not a complete miracle as such, or complete mystery. There's stuff happening inside your body when you're positive. The Myers-Briggs personality test, of the 16 personalities, I personally recommend taking this test. Not everybody believes in this, but I think it's helpful that these expert psychiatrists have basically loosely divided people into 16 different personality types, and understanding what your particular personality type is can help you to understand not just your strengths but your weaknesses. Is one personality type more likely to be narcissistic, for example, more likely to isolate themselves or to get hurt by what other people say, and things like that? And if you take this on 16 personalities, it does list out your strengths and weaknesses, and it also helps you in relationship terms as well. If you're married to somebody who may be compatible, may not be, just understanding and working on those differences. Making sure you drink clean water is very, very important. Try and get the fluoride out if you can. And the importance of keeping well hydrated, of earthing as well, of walking around barefoot, and in line with the placebo effect, really persevering and never giving up. There's always usually a cure out there somewhere for 99% of problems. Just sort of like accepting that the issue you have is genetic or not something you can ever cure can be defeatist and can stifle your recovery. Grow your own vegetable garden, play a musical instrument, get an enjoyable hobby, because all these things are going to keep you mentally well and help you to fight depression. Eat lots of green leafy veg and fruit, food that has high water content, organic, of course, very important. But it's important to remember with diets that no one size fits all. Veganism might work for one person, whereas keto might work for another, high fat might work for another. Just learn to come in tune with your body and follow what makes sense to you. Personally, I like to have high vegetable and fruit content and low meat and dairy. That's what I aim for. Yeah, and get minerals as well. Have to be careful in your choice of multivitamins and things like that, because some of them contain slightly questionable ingredients. The principle here, though, is that the soil has become depleted, whereas in the past maybe farmers would deliberately allow their fields to be flooded by rivers, which would deposit a rich layer of silt in the fields. Now, with modern intensive farming methods and agriculture methods, the ground is overwhelmed, it doesn't have time to recover, it's poisoned. The minerals are just not in there, so sometimes you have to think about supplementing with additional vitamins and minerals from elsewhere, really, to make sure that you have the right balance in your body. Just like in a car, you need brake fluid, oil, petrol, to make it all work. The same with your body. If you get low on vitamin K, vitamin E, vitamin D, zinc, this can make you more prone to illness, viruses and things like that. So, yeah, important on that. Some, in line with positive thinking, I would say some Bible verses that come to mind. Ephesians 4:29, let a rotten saying not proceed out of your mouth. That's part of thinking positively. It's not the first step could be to start with not saying anything negative when you don't need to, and try and think of something building to say instead. And Matthew 7:12, do to others like you want them to do to you. I think that's called the golden rule, isn't it? Read up on the topic of health, because it's evolving all the time. Be prepared to change your beliefs. If you think something's bad for you one day, well, maybe upon further analysis could actually be good for you, and vice versa. And touching on this next topic very carefully, think about what you're injecting into your body and whether you need to do that as well. I recommend a video by Candace Owens on that particular topic. and look at homeopathy as an alternative to that. But I'll put some information in the description below. So yeah, so there's some thoughts for me. This is it's not the destinations always as much as the journey, especially with health, because along this journey you want to be improving your health more and more and more, and should be a lifelong pursuit. Should be a fascination. You should be picking up those food packages in the store, in the supermarket, and reading the ingredients, because it's not about being paranoid. It's about knowing what's going into your body, and pursuing health as a way of life. That's it. That's my thoughts anyway.